Here on the show, we do a speed round preview and predictions. We don't do no. It's like we spend like 60 seconds or less talking about why we're interested in this match, and then we don't, and then we give our predictions. I write them down, and then whomever wins the predictions on the post show that we do, we might do one for. I think we might do one for Revolution. I think I'm off that day, so we might do one. We'll TBD.
For sure.
TBD for now. Squintz, let's test your mic real quick. See if you good.
Can you guys hear me better now?
Yep, we're good.
Sir, loud and clear.
There we go. All right. So for AEW Revolution 2024, I'm going to write down everybody's name so that way I can actually keep up with everybody's predictions. What? Real Squintz. All right, so the first match we're going to talk about, we're going to go pretty much, I guess you could say in order of how I uploaded them. The Intercontinental Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. Let's start with you, Squints. Get your prediction as well as why, if you're interested in this match or not.
I think Roddy wins.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't think they wanted the title on Orange again after the Moxley match, but due to unforeseen circumstances with his injuries and all that, they had to pivot to that. And then I think they put the title on him. That's going to really help the Undisputed.
Gotcha. So you got you with Roddy. What about you, Hi-Lite?
You know what? I want to say this might be a situation. Believe it or not, I'm going to say Orange Cassidy retains. But it'll be in one of those kind of ways where it's like not necessarily a screwy finish since he's the babyface, but you know how you sometimes get those outcomes where you can tell he just barely got by and they're gonna run it back to where then it changes hands. So I think this might be a moment where he actually retains it before they actually give it to Roddy for real.
Gotcha. In my case, I feel like Roderick should win because I feel like the Undisputed Kingdom has been kind of lackluster with Adam Cole injured. The whole Devil storyline was a dud, as we've made well known on this show. But hopefully, if Roddy doesn't win, then in my opinion, I feel like the Undisputed Kingdom should just be like the Pinnacle and just move on. In my humble opinion. So hopefully, so I got Roddy going for the win on this one. Next up, we have for the Continental Crown Championship, we have Eddie Kingston defending against Bryan Danielson. The story of this match is basically it's one-sided beef. Bryan doesn't respect Eddie Kingston, so I'm guessing this match is basically for Eddie Kingston to prove once and for all that Bryan should respect him. Because the only stipulation they added to this was if Bryan loses, or even if he wins, he has to shake Eddie Kingston's hand. So this is all about pretty much respect for Eddie Kingston from Bryan Danielson. Hi-Lite, let's get your pick.
I'm definitely going Eddie Kingston here because I feel like I've seen this before. Didn't they do this literally with Claudio not that long ago?
Yep, that's how he won the ROH title.
Yeah, definitely give me Kingston. Even though this is weird because he technically beat Bryan Danielson already in that same Continental Classic.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he didn't already earn your respect, but okay, sure. We'll go along with it. Give me Eddie Kingston.
What about you, Squints?
Eddie, just because I don't see Bryan winning a title this late in his career. He said basically he's wrapping it up into the year, if not before the end of the year. So I definitely see him not winning the title, and I see Eddie proving Bryan that he needs to respect him.
Same here. I feel the same way. Like I feel like Eddie Kingston is going to win this one because it's more so like they're running this back with the whole respect thing. But it's like my only gripe with this is like if this would make sense if Eddie wasn't the Triple Crown champion. Like he has 3 belts. How you don't respect this man at this point? At this point, I just feel like you're just being a dick. But it's interesting. We'll see how they go with this one. So we'll see. We'll see how they go with this outcome. But yeah, I definitely see Eddie Kingston winning this one. Next up, we have Konosuke Takeshita versus Will Ospreay in his debut match. I think Will Ospreay is going to make an appearance on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. He may not, or they might do like a promo package or whatever, but he will finally make his official debut as an AEW wrestler. Not no New Japan, but just straight AEW on against his fellow Don Callis family member in Konosuke Takeshita. I'll start with this one. I feel like Will Ospreay is going to win. I doubt they will have him lose his debut match. It will be a banger of a match. But it also leaves me with the question of what are they doing with Takeshita? Because I feel like soon as it's like seeing he's been in this Don Callis vortex along with Chris Jericho, he just hasn't been consistent with his booking, in my opinion. Because if you didn't tell me, or if I didn't watch the matches myself, I wouldn't have known that this man defeated Kenny Omega twice in 2 weeks. So hopefully they do something with this. But yeah, I'm going with Will Ospreay on this one. What about you, Squints?
Will Ospreay, because it's his debut. They've been hyping this debut up since Full Gear now.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just have this hyped up of a debut and just
Have him lose.
have him lose.
What about you, Helen?
I am very torn on this because Takeshita has not really lost much, if at all, really, especially since this Don Callis pairing, despite what we think about it and the vortex, as you mentioned, of it. I'm not going to lie, man. I think this is one of those AEW draws where it's neither one of them win. I guess if there's a time limit, they just run out of time or something.
So you're voting for a draw, basically.
Yeah, I'm going draw here because I just don't, like you guys said, you wouldn't lose a debut, and Takeshita, I just haven't seen a scenario where he would get pinned. You know what I mean? And then since he's technically still a part of this Don Callis family situation, I don't know. It just feels like it'll be a draw.
Right. Okay. We'll take that. We'll take that. Next up, we have Christian Cage defending the TNT Championship against Daniel Garcia, another fatherless victim for the patriarch of the patriarchy. Let's start with you. Hi-Lite. Who would you go with? We'll go with this as far as the outcome.
Man, I really, really want to go with my guy Daniel Garcia, but Christian is still so hot with this title. I don't see him losing it anytime soon yet. So give me Christian Cage for the win on this.
Okay. In my case, I feel like Christian Cage is also going to win with this one. It's like they're still telling the story with Adam Copeland. The only way I can see Christian losing if they do go that route is Adam Copeland returning to cost him the match, but because of following the concerto that he gave him. But at the same time, I personally wouldn't take the title off of Christian Cage anytime soon, especially since he just won it back. So I would definitely. It will be a feel good moment for Dan Garcia, but I just got to go with Christian Cage. What about you, Squints?
I think Garcia wins due to Edge costing Christian the match. Because I
Okay.
feel like Adam is more so focused on Christian himself than the title now. And the best way to get to Christian is costing him the title.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Next up, we have a tag team match: the FTR versus John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. BCC versus FTR. I'm not gonna even keep it. I don't have too much interest in this match, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pick the BCC to pick up the win. What about you, Squints?
I see John and Claudio winning.
Okay.
I have no reasoning other than I like them more.
Yeah. What about you, Highlight?
Yeesh. I guess I'll go the other way, guys, and say FTR because I don't know. I guess they would win. Yeah, I'm gonna go FTR for this one.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like this match is it's just four dudes that just want to beat the hell out of each other. It's like there's nothing much to say about it.
Mhm.
For the Women's World Championship, we got Timeless Tony Storm versus Deanna Purrazzo. Timeless Tony Storm, I should say. Excuse me. Sorry, Miss Storm. But with this one, I I see Tony retaining due to some type of shenanigans. What about you, Squints?
Tony due to shenanigans.
Okay. What about you, Hi-Lite? Do you have this and along with any thoughts that you want to add to this?
No extra thoughts. It's pretty unanimous. Tony winning due to shenanigans. I don't know if they'll run it back anytime soon because, as we know, someone's inevitably making their way soon too. So I mean, it's kind of like I don't know what this does for Deanna, but it'll be a way to keep her strong for sure. So
Like I've been enjoying the story that they've been telling. Like Tony is continually entertaining, and it's just a simple former friends finally clashing for the world title. That's pretty much all I got on that.
that's
As of now, we don't have any matches announced for the buy-in. They likely will announce it after Dynamite or around the time of Collision. If we do get any predictions, make sure you follow us on Twitter. I usually reach out to everybody to get their predictions if there's any matches added, and then we just add it to the final score when it's time for the show. Next up, we have a random match, in my opinion, but it's not for me. It's for the ladies. It's Meat Madness match. Wardlow versus Lance Archer versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm just gonna go ahead and just say Wardlow. I have no other comment. What about you, Squints?
Wardlow, because the United Kingdom needs to have something happen for them.
True. What about you? How I see you are over it already. Your face is in your hand. That's how over you are. This.
man. Yeah, this is very random. So
I know it ain't Lance Archer.
It ain't, and as much as I want to say Powerhouse Hobbs for the heck of it, I'm just gonna say Wardlow because it's Wardlow.
Yeah, that's all we got on that. It's just Meat Madness. It is what it is. For which will likely be a co-main event for the World Heavyweight Championship triple threat match. As of now, we don't know what they're going to do with Hangman Adam Page on Dynamite, but as of now, it'll be Samoa Joe defending against Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page in a triple threat match. And I'm gonna go ahead and say I feel like Samoa Joe should retain, so that's gonna be my pick because he had outside of that match with Hook, he hasn't really had a title defense or a title reign, in my opinion. So it's like I feel like this will be a good. If as far as like, okay, we'll do a 2-part for this one. Who would he pin? I feel like I see a scenario where Hangman takes the pin to mess with Swerve to keep him from the title. He's like, okay, I can't beat Samoa Joe. I don't want you to beat Samoa Joe. So I'm going to, at the very last moment, I'm going to not kick out when I can clearly kick out at the very last moment and have Joe retain that way. That way it can prolong Swerve's chase a little bit to get him to get, I guess you could say, to get that one-on-one match whenever they have it to finally wrap it up with Hangman. But if I'm gonna go with Samoa Joe retaining, but by pinning Hangman. What about you, Hi-Lite?
So assuming this is still a triple threat match, I will say what you said with Samoa Joe. However, if I'm sorry to make this very complicated, I hope this is not the case, but this is just in case. If Hangman is not in this match and there is no third man to replace, and this is very much a one-on-one, give me Swerve Strickland.
Okay. So that's gonna be your overall pick.
If this changes from a triple threat, yes, but as it's still being on paper a triple threat,
I'll let you do two versions.
Yeah,
that's gonna be my pick regardless, even if it's one-on-one. I feel like Joe needs a longer range, so that's gonna be my pick. So if it is a triple threat, who do you got winning? If it's still a triple threat,
if it's still a triple threat, I'll pick Samoa Joe.
Okay. What about you, Squints?
So I believe that Hangman is injured, and it's going to become Joe and Swerve, and then halfway through the match, Hangman's going to come out, and Swerve is going to get too distraught, focused on Hangman, and then Joe's going to end up winning. It's going to get turned into a triple threat at the pay-per-view, though, if that makes sense. So Joe.
They've done that before. I've seen wrestling do that before. So yeah, I definitely. So you go with Joe. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. And last but certainly not least, for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, Sting's final match, a tornado tag team match. Darby Allin and Sting defending the tag team titles against AEW's EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, I guess you could say EVP Bucks, because they're not really that young, but the Young Bucks. This is a tricky one to predict. If I'm honest with you, like if they were to have the Young Bucks, I feel like there's two ways they can go with this. They can have the Young Bucks win by defeating Darby and then giving Sting his standing ovation to close the show, or this would be a fun match and the champs retain and then they vacate the titles when Sting retires. So I'm going to go with the latter on this one. I feel like Darby and Sting will retain, and excuse me. I'm looking at somebody else, and Sting eventually retires the tag team. Retires, and they vacate the titles, and then they have a tournament to crown new champions. So I'm going to go with Sting and Darby. What about you, Hi-Lite?
Man, you kind of took my thought. I thought I was going to be the only one to think that, but I'm likely was going to pick Sting as well. I was initially leaning automatically towards the Matthew and Nicholas to do this, but it just kind of makes sense for them to have Sting go ahead and go out on top and basically vacate those titles, crowning new champions in tournaments that we know AEW loves to do. So give me that pick right along there with you for Sting and Darby to retain.
What about you, Squintz?
I don't know. I want to say Darby and Sting, and then they do a tournament to crown new champions. I don't see them having Sting lose his retirement match.
I mean, if it was WWE, yeah. So, I mean, I'm interested either way to see how they go with this one. Chat say I'm going to cry during and after this match. We are going to get emotional. Like, we're going to pay tribute to Sting. But yeah, that concludes our preview and predictions for AEW Revolution 2024. That'll be interesting. It will be to be determined if we do a post show. We will definitely let you guys know by Saturday if we do a post show or not. So definitely keep it locked. That goes down March 5th. Is it 5th or 4th? 4th? 3rd? 3rd. It goes down March 3rd on pay-per-view. Yeah, so shout out to Sting. Shout out to AEW for allowing him to have this final match the way that he wants to. And that concludes our preview and predictions for AEW Revolution, ladies and gentlemen.
When the club go around here, I'm a cactus. Bang, bang, gang, I don't owe you jack. When I'm in the ring, it's just me and my best friends. OC cutting no slack. Hollywood Miz, you can put me on the A-list. Gresh Unleashed, better put it on your playlist. Me and my fam be ballin' like the Bruce. Fight night, baby, hard hitting like Sheamus. Family first, yes, bloodline business. Winning all the gold, look at how they witness.